here's our list for tonight. Iconic movie roles that were almost played by other actors.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Oh, my God.
So Elvis and Joe Buck are not going to be a part of this.
Actually, that gave me the idea to read that. As soon as we mentioned that, I started Googling this topic, and here we go.
Okay.
W.C. Fields was going to be in Wizard of Oz, in the role of the wizard, of course. He actually auditioned.
He would have been great in that. I mean, he would have been superb as that role. You know, W.C. Fields, who's a great actor, I think, by the way, who was a great actor, not just as a comedian, but I think he was a really good actor, like in David Copperfield and he was a huge fan of Charles Dickens, and he was incredibly well read, and that's why in a lot of his movies he has those crazy names like Whipsnake or something like Whipsnade, Snidely Whipsnade or something like that. He gets all those weird names from Dickens, his influence of Dickens. Anyway,
I just want to bring up that all the stories about Godfather casting and Star Wars casting, that's all well known, so we won't go over that. I just will say that the reason why Winona Ryder wasn't in Godfather 3 is because she had done Roxy Carmichael and Mermaids back to back.
Right, yeah,
and she was exhausted. She was exhausted from that.
Those kept her from doing a Godfather movie. I just did Mermaids.
Right.
I'm just...
She was out partying. She was partying her ass off. That's what...
I'm going to say... I would say something very nasty right now, but I'm going to restrain myself. But because I'm very familiar with that time period, but I'm not going to say it.
Someone else shoplifted the role from her.
But who did go on to make great movies on her own terms, though. But it took a long time to get that, to exercise that out of her, but yeah.
The thing I hold against Sophia Coppola most is probably that short film that she did with her father in New York Stories, which is one of the most abhorrent pieces of film ever.
You go from, you have the Scorsese, which is magnificent with Nick Nolte.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an awesome short film. The
Unbelievable.
Woody Allen is always funny. The Coppola one is embarrassing.
I think it's the worst thing that Coppola has ever directed, period. And I'm including the Playboy and the Bellboy and the Playgirls and Dementia 13 in that.
Really? I mean, that is things. I mean, I could say you did that serious, but you want to go that far back. I mean, Francis, please keep sending me the wine. Thank you. I'm going to need it.
Yeah, where's my wine?
Where's my wine? I had to buy it at the liquor store. I mean,
yeah. Anyway.
I went to the liquor store this weekend and bought a bottle of Coppola wine.
You did?
Okay, yeah, I sure did.
Okay, good.
Nice.
Okay.
Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Steve McQueen was almost in it. Paul Newman and Steve McQueen.
And that we're going to have the role switch with Paul Newman playing Sundance and Butch Cassidy going to. Well, I mean, I heard that they wanted, once Redford got on, that they wanted them switched then, but I didn't know about Steve McQueen. That's interesting.
Of course, Harvey Keitel in Apocalypse Now.
Right. And why did he get out? Really,
he was fired.
He was fired because they just didn't think it was working.
It wasn't working. It wasn't working.
He thanked them. I mean, he thanked them for firing him because he was not having a good time.
Oh yeah.
Because when you think Apocalypse Now shooting in Malaysia or wherever it was, you think good time. Oh, that sounds like a good time.
Me love you a long time.
Mosquitoes the size of your hand, coming in. And
I'm not having a good time.
100 degrees.
You need to be concerned with entertaining me on this side. You know what? I understand it. I understand it emotionally because that role required kind of a quiet introspectiveness that I don't think Harvey Keitel, who's a lot more of a brute.
Yeah, he doesn't have that. I mean, if you really want to say, I mean, you look at the scene where he's moaning in Bad Lieutenant, I think that's as much as we'll get from quiet and introspectiveness, you know.
Yeah. He could have shown his penis in that movie, though. I mean, that was probably a plus for him. He said, I could show my penis in the opening segment. Like, I don't even have to wait halfway through the movie.
I like that. That's something that he looks forward to doing in a movie.
Yeah. Look, I'll be a voice for your Pixar movie, but can I show my penis somewhere?
I hear that he shows his penis again in the Michael Caine movie that's coming up.
Oh,
no, I'm kidding. He doesn't. but he is. That movie is used. This the movie.
They're going to be very upset with you, Dean, if they go see that movie, and they'll be like, "Oh my God."
There's no Keitel penis. I feel ripped off.
No Keitel penis, no dollar.
No Keitel penis.
No.
The older he
gets,
the older he gets,
sounds like some other language.
I find that the older he gets,
penis.
His performances become a lot more limp as he gets older, I think.
Oh, that was a long way to go for that one.
Okay. Michael Keaton in The Purple Rose of Cairo. In the Jeff Daniels
that
role.
That could have worked. I would have liked that.
Yeah, I can see that working.
I could see that, definitely.
No. Michael Keaton actually shot the role. They shot the movie with Michael Keaton. And then Woody Allen looked at it and said, "No, I got to recast this."
I think that's so interesting that Woody Allen back then was so willing to do that. I mean, you know, of course, with September, they shot the whole movie September with a completely different cast, and then went back and reshot the whole thing. You know, recast.
I'm sorry, they didn't shoot the whole movie. They were shooting for 10 days, and that's when he decided to let Keaton go. And this is why he did. He said, "I love Michael Keaton. I thought he was terrific, but he was right out of the 1980s, not the 1930s. I'd look at the dailies, and he was fine, but you got no sense of a 1930s movie star from him because he was too hip."
That's true. It might not have worked. I mean, maybe, you know, with the right makeup or something, but
direction. Direction might have done it.
But
we talked about it.
But Jeff Daniels does have that sort of blandness, you know, that because that character in that movie is supposed to be kind of a bland actor, and so and I think that maybe Michael Keaton might not have worked in that way because he's just a little too dynamic, I think.
Yeah. Hey, has anyone seen Irrational Man?
Not yet. I'm still waiting. I haven't been out to the theaters, so I've been watching a lot of VOD stuff. So.
Okay, here's another almost cast actor. This actor says, "My biggest regret is not doing Boogie Nights," and that is Leonardo DiCaprio.
In the lead role as Dirk Diggler?
That was Paul Thomas Anderson's first choice, and he wanted to do it, but he decided to do Titanic instead.
Well, I'm sure he thanks his lucky stars for that.
Yeah,
that was a good choice.
But
Mark
I mean,
so perfect. Though
he is.
You know who really wanted to play the role of Dirk Diggler? Harvey Keitel.
I thought you were going to say Geraldo Rivera.
You mean I get to show my penis like a prosthetic penis? You mean I have to wait until the end to show it? Oh, the worst.
That's great.
That would have been weird. I think Wahlberg is so perfect because he's got that kind of I don't know. He's got kind of a scuzziness to him in that movie that you can really believe him as that sort of like as that poor kid that gets thrown out of the house.
And the funny thing is though, his persona afterwards. I mean, you watch something as bad as Pain and Gain or something, and he's perfect. I mean, if DiCaprio played the part, obviously we might be having a different conversation right now. But I mean, he was just perfect for that movie.
I think he was perfect because he was inexperienced. I think that worked for the part.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I mean, what were the movies before that? Renaissance Man and Fear, if I'm not mistaken, right? I mean,
right. So not a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm.
Warren Beatty in Kill Bill.
As Bill? Okay.
Yeah, I mean...
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. This seems weird to me. It's
perfect. It's perfect before the movie, the cameras start rolling. But when your director is telling you, well, David Carradine would play the part like this and this and this, and then Warren Beatty would get David Carradine.
Really? Is that what happened? That's what happened?
He said that's what happened.
Oh, wow. Huh.
You know, as much as I admire Tarantino, it's just like, dude, you have Warren Beatty. Just shut up.
That is kind of a rookie mistake almost to say,
It is a rookie mistake from a guy who shouldn't be a rookie at that point.
Yeah.
And it would have been a different.
Weird.
And you know what? It gave David Carradine probably one of his greatest roles. You know, a late career comeback and.
Yeah.
Wandered in a closet in Thailand, but I mean, you know, we have Warren Beatty. I would just be like, go with it. Don't say, oh, David Carradine would do it this way.
That's just I don't know. Yeah, it's a dumb direction. So.
It's one of the worst directions. You really want to be there and just be like, dude,
it's
really?
It's like casting Denzel Washington in something or Sidney Poitier in something, and then telling him, you know. I wanted Nipsey Russell would have played this the way I wanted it. Could you do it more like Nipsey Russell?
Yeah, he would have said everything in a cute little verse. And
yeah.
Okay.
Dirty Harry. Frank Sinatra wanted Dirty Harry.
I knew about that
movie.
one.
That's a different movie. Totally.
Well, you know, he had done a movie a few years before called The Detective, which has the kind of, if you watch that now, it's with Lee Remick and everything. It's actually pretty good.
The first movie I watched in Los Angeles, the first night I was in Los Angeles, that was on in the hotel room. I watched that.
Huh. And so if you watch The Detective, you can kind of get the flavor of what a Sinatra Dirty Harry might have been like.
Definitely.
But, yeah, that would have been a real different kind of thing for him, for sure.
Another, you know, one of the most famous singers of all time, just like Elvis, who really wanted to evolve into a film career, and he had a lot more luck with it in terms of more mature kind of movies than Elvis did.
Yeah,
true.
For sure. I mean, you know.
But I mean, that's another casting thing. I mean, Sinatra campaigned for, I think, the Eli Wallach role in Godfather 3.
Oh, he wanted it very badly. He, you know, and there's a great irony there because, you know, Sinatra, you know, Johnny Fontaine is based on Frank Sinatra.
Right.
And that was the great irony. And then Eli Wallach got that part in From Here to Eternity. And, you know, here Eli Wallach is taking a part that Frank Sinatra desperately wanted. I mean, he wanted it so badly. I mean,
well, why didn't they go with Sinatra, though? You would have thought that would have been a big deal.
I think Sinatra at that time actually was, at that time, you know, he passes away in 98, but he was ill at the time of that making of that movie. He wasn't feeling well. So they did go with Eli Wallach. But he campaigned ferociously for it. I mean,
I do think Sinatra would have been a great boon to that movie.
Oh,
yeah,
big time. It would just been such a cool thing. I mean,
yeah, it would have been. It would have been massive.
I like what Eli Wallach said about the movie, though. If I'm such a good friend of the Corleones, why wasn't I in part 1 and 2?
That
was the greatest comment.
I agree.